Hi students, welcome to week 9. I want to make sure we get clear that the work orders that we write as service advisors are legal documents. They must be written clearly and to the specifications that California requires. And as far as authorizations go, every time an estimate changes, an authorization must be recorded that tells who the customer was that was authorizing the additional expense, how they authorized it. Was it electronic? Was it a phone call? Who took that? What time was it? What day was it? All of that needs to be written on the work order every time we change the estimate. That is part of what we need to achieve, which is that anyone that looks at that work order, that final invoice, can easily see what the car came in for, what work was done, how the estimate progressed if it changed, and what the total amount of the estimate was and the total amount of the sale was. So it's very, very clear. That's the point. It can stand up in court. It can be clearly understood by anyone looking at it. So that's one thing. We've been talking for a couple of weeks about the different attitudes that we encounter as auto technicians and as service advisors. I gave you a PowerPoint called Fact or Fiction, which I think is a good thing for you to refer to. And by the way, any PowerPoint that appears for you in a week should be available all semester. So it might be a good idea for you to go back to those that are less clear to you during the semester. They're available for you to look at any point. So this week we started talking about setting priorities for customers, which many times is something that a service advisor needs to do. Customers may come in with one problem, but the tech finds 3 other things that need to happen on the car. Customer may come in with 5 things, but they can't afford to fix all 5. So very often we're in the position of having to educate customers about what's important and to help them decide and make decisions that are sensible. So how do we do that? How do we decide what's important? We get occasionally people will come at us with what's important to them, and several of you put in your work this week that a car that doesn't start is a number 1 issue. And that's certainly going to be the customer's perspective, especially if they don't understand that there is a safety issue involved with, for instance, a clunk that they've been hearing for several months when they go over bumps in the front end that they've gotten used to. They don't realize that that's a safety issue. So we need to look at what's the worst thing that can happen with whatever system we're dealing with. And how likely is that to happen? So safety clearly comes first. Preventative maintenance, what I mean by preventative maintenance is there are things that if you do them on time, you may be preventing a serious problem from occurring. What's an example of that? A timing belt. Many engines that have timing belts, when that timing belt breaks, those engines get damaged. So you've turned a slightly expensive repair into a hugely expensive repair by not replacing the timing belt on time. Let's look at an accessory drive belt, say a belt that drives the alternator. That needs to be looked at periodically. When it breaks, what happens? The alternator doesn't spin anymore, and a dash light comes on that tells us that the battery is not getting recharged. So it's not as serious a problem as is a timing belt, or for instance, an oil change. if I never change the oil on my car, my engine is simply not going to live as long. So we're beginning the exploration of setting priorities for customers, and there will be more of that will come your way in this class. So I also added last week, at the middle of the week, an all data review PowerPoint. Clearly some of you are very familiar with all data and managing it well. Some of you are struggling with how to look things up, where to find things, and understanding what's being asked. So please take a look at the all data review PowerPoint that I made for you. Again, it will be available through the end of the semester. This week we will have a discussion, and it's a discussion that you don't need to reply to other students about, but you will need to contribute to it yourself. We also have Zoom meetings this week, so I will be sending you invitations at the time you've selected for Zoom meetings, and I look forward to talking with you and answering any questions or helping you with anything that you may need help with. There is a couple of PowerPoints this week, additional new ones, and we are introducing the digital work order that we created for you at Contra Costa College that does all your arithmetic for you. So your assignments this week will be putting in addition to the Zoom meetings, we'll be filling out the digital work orders, both for an initial estimate and then for the final invoice. All the instructions are provided. The PowerPoint should help you figure out how to use the digital work order, which is available on Canvas. Again, any questions you have, please email me. I check it frequently at Gmail. Let me know if there's something that isn't working for you. Sometimes there are glitches that are beyond all of our control. And the last thing this week is quiz number 3. 20 points available. You get 2 tries. It's available. I would do it at the end of the week after you have done all the work that has been given to you, because that may help. Quizzes are always things that ask us questions that relate to topics that we've covered in the past. So that's what I have for you this week. It's a pleasure. You've been great. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you soon.